Welcome back to Story After Midnight, where the darkness never sleeps. I'm your storyteller, guiding you through the world's most terrifying and mysterious true encounters. From haunted homes to ghostly sightings to strange and unexplained phenomena, I bring you the spine-chilling stories that will make you question what you thought you knew. In tonight's episode, we dive deep into the eerie and unsettling world of real-life ghost encounters. These are stories from those who have unknowingly brushed up against the supernatural and lived to tell the tale. So find a quiet spot, dim the lights, and make sure you're alone, because the shadows might be closer than you think. Who knows what's lurking, watching, and waiting to make its presence known? Now let's step into the unknown. The darkness awaits us.
Eleanor had always dreamt of becoming a celebrated writer, one whose stories lingered vividly in readers' minds long after the last page was turned. Yet, reality had been harsh, leaving her trapped in an endless loop of rejection and self-doubt. Her modest apartment overflowed with manuscripts that publishers dismissed with polite indifference. Each new rejection was a blade carving deeper into her sense of worth. One gray autumn afternoon, desperate for inspiration, Eleanor wandered aimlessly through the sea's forgotten alleys. Wind dripped steadily, each droplet echoing her despair. Amid crumbling brick facades stood a narrow doorway she'd never noticed before, marked by a faded wooden sign, "Curious and Antiquities." Curiosity tugged at Eleanor's weary heart. Pushing open the creaking door, she stepped into a realm of muted darkness, illuminated only by scattered candles and dim lamplight. Shelves crowded with mysterious artifacts lined the walls, their shapes shifting oddly in the shadows. At the back, on a polished table, an antique quill caught her attention. Its feather was sleek black, shimmering like quill in water, seated in a silver stand carved with pristine symbols. Fascinating piece, isn't it? A soft voice murmured. Startled, Eleanor spun around. A frail shopkeeper emerged from the gloom, eye ancient yet sharp, smiling mysteriously. "It's very special," he continued, gently. "This who writes with the ink never runs dry. They say we write because vividly real, but all inspiration at a price." Ignoring the cricked warning, Eleanor felt a thrill of excitement. Perhaps, finally, her breakthrough was at hand. Quickly paid the shopkeeper, with no silence in her thoughts. Eleanor hurried home, clutching her strange thighs. That night, by candlelight, she began her first story with a quill. It moved effortlessly across the page, ink gleaming darkly with each word. The tale flowed from her fingertips like liquid fire, more vivid and compelling than anything she had ever written. Exhausted yet accelerated, she fell asleep at dawn, confident she had created her masterpiece. Within days, publishers clamored for her work. Critics hailed her storytelling as disturbingly realistic, terrifyingly immersive. But Eleanor's delight quickly soured when headlines began echoing events from her manuscripts. Freak accidents, sudden deaths, eerie disappearances, all hauntingly similar to her own tales. Initially dismissing it as coincidence, Eleanor grew anxious when the pattern intensified. Each new story written with a quill ended tragically for someone somewhere. Disturbed, she vowed to discard it. Yet, as she reached to toss it into a fireplace, she hesitated, gripped by a sudden, insatiable surge to write just one more story. Soon, Eleanor was bound to the kill, trapped in a nightmarish cycle. She wrote compulsively, tales spinning forth, darker and more violent with every stroke. A quill whispering inspiration directly into her mind. Each night, shadows danced around her room, whispering, echoing the sinister hair she had, living our guilt and horror. Eleanor resulted on her of the Colloradins. The time the alley shop only have vashed. Nothing of their bricks where it once stood. Dean through public records and archives, she discovered a shilling pattern. Every previous owner had vashed and Stacy. Also to madness, leaving behind reigns so terrifyingly pathetic. Realization dawned cruelly upon Eleanor. The quill wasn't merely cursed. It fed on tragedy, binding layers tied to the creative desperation. Each story strengthened its hold, every death fueling its insatiable hunger. Determined to break free, Eleanor struggled desperately to resist writing. Yet, night after night, the quill beckoned irresistibly, flying her dreams with grotesque visions and anguished whispers. Until finally she could bear it no longer. Her hands trembling violently, she penned a desperate final story, aiming to trap the quill with its own dark narrative. As she wrote, her apartment seemed to darken, ink bleeding off the page, twisting across her desk into impossible shapes. The walls echoed her words, shadows gathering with menacing intent. She felt the quill fighting against her control, its cold tip scratching furiously, piercing the skin, mingling her blood with the phantom ink. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness, her desk shaking violently. A quill rose into the air, enveloped by writhing shadows, whispering viciously, "You cannot trap me." It hissed her voice, both alien and chillingly familiar. "I am every nightmare, every dream, every fear ever felt. Your stories sustain me. Your soul is mine." The wind screamed outside. Though her windows were shut, the candles snuffed themselves out one by one, leaving only the glow of the cursed manuscript, its pages fluttering despite the stillness. The quill hovered above the desk, dripping thick black ink was a boon to the floorboards. It twisted mid-air, writing words she did not speak. "You were never the author. You were always the offering Eleanor's scream, revving the quill mid-air. Its shaft ice cold and pulsating, her grip burned. But she forced it down, forced it to finish the story. She did the story of the quill's origin, its hunger, and its final death. As she wrote the final sentence in with one last stroke, the curse consumed itself in ink both of pages igniting black flame. The fire spread, consuming every manuscript, every word she'd ever written with it. The walls of her apartment pulsed like a heartbeat, then cracked, revealing glimpses of something beyond a realm of ink and shadow, where thousands of writers screamed silent, and then silence. When neighbors broke down the door the next morning, they found the apartment untouched, except for Eleanor's desk, which sat perfectly clean empty. No manuscripts, no quill, no Eleanor. Only a single page remained on the floor. He read, "Do not write with what you do not as a sad. Story have teeth, and some bite back." Eleanor screamed, fighting back terror. "No, you're only words. You can't control me anymore." Gathering her strength, Eleanor wrote rapidly, pouring every ounce of defiance and courage into her final sentences. The kill resisted desperately, with one last stroke. The nice riff completed, Eleanor collapsed, darkness swallowing her whole. Morning sunlight crept gently into silent the heartbeat. Eleanor's desolate manuscript, perfectly stacked and tiled Fanta ink. Authorities investigating her sudden disappearance found no trace of the author. Only the haunting story celebrated for its gritting realism. In the manuscript's final lines, readers discovered a chilling truth that creativity, unchecked, can summon terrors beyond comprehension. They never noticed the kill tucked within a manuscript's pages, ink gleaming ominously, patiently waiting for the next desperate riot, eager to feed once more.
Thank you for joining me tonight on this eerie journey into the unknown. If these stories have left you with a chill down your spine, don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. This really means a lot to me and helps to keep me on YouTube. And remember, there's always more lurking just around the corner. If you've ever experienced something strange, something unexplainable, feel free to share your own story in the comments below. You never know who else might be listening or watching. Until next time, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your curiosity never at ease. Because at Story After Midnight, the darkness never rests, and neither do we.